So this is going to be a follow-up video to the videos about the NetGear EX3700 access point slash wireless extender. This is just going to be the testing and review of the actual device. So I've had the thing plugged in for a couple days now, and I've been kind of playing with it. And we've got our speed test by Ookla up. And I'm going to show you, first of all, sort of my network and what the baseline speed we're looking at is. So this would be the one that we're actually connecting to from the extender. So this is on the 5 gigahertz band, and we'll just show you. So my network speed is actually pretty good. So there you go. We've got about 331 down and 408 up through the router. So this is the actual this is the main wireless AC router that I have for well, it's actually an access point. It's not. It's a NetGear AC750. If we jump over to 2.4, we'll just give you some baseline numbers before we go into this test. And so then on the 2.4, so it looks like we're going to hit about 97, 98 megabits per second down. Probably something similar up, maybe a little higher than that. So there we are. There's our baseline speeds for what we're kind of expect before we connect to that extender. So then we're going to go ahead and connect to this AP Test 5G. This is our NetGear extender, and this is on the 5 gigahertz band. We're going to run a real quick test on it. So we see we're looking at 143 and 120. So that's actually about half the speed, but it's not terrible. And you could probably expect to see something similar. If you have a relatively slow internet connection, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of under 50 megabits per second down or up, you're probably not going to notice too much of a difference between bridging this off of your home router, I would say. So it looks like it's doing a pretty good job. This thing actually gets kind of hot, so that's the only real complaint I have about it. And also it seems to fumble with its network connectivity if you unplug it and plug it in a lot. So don't do that. There's a on and off button on the side of it. You should use that to turn it on and off. So that's our 5 gigahertz band. We'll switch over to the 2.4. And the interesting part about this, and what you'll see in the second part of this video when we come back, will be once I have reconfigured this for access point mode. I'm gonna be kind of curious to see what that does, because it only has a 10100 Ethernet port, so that could be interesting. Yeah, we'll see about that. Because I assume it'll just hit 100 megabits per second and top out, because the 10100 Ethernet port's kind of slow, to be honest. So a pretty decent showing here for the 2.4 gigahertz. It's 2.4 gigahertz, so I mean, you know, it's kind of the lower end of the Wi-Fi spectrum. I think, you know, if we look at, not too terrible, you're looking at somewhere between 28 and 30, I'd imagine, if you're gonna probably average it out over time, which, like I said, once again, it's not terrible. It's better than some of these access points that I test, so that's not too bad. The setup on this thing is really easy, like you've probably seen in the setup videos already. Yeah, so that's the first half of this. I'm going to reconfigure this into access point mode. So, you know, currently we're in extender mode where we're bridging off of the home Wi-Fi. Next section of the video is going to be me connecting it directly to a hard line on my switch, on my network switch, my gigabit switch, and then we'll be setting it up as an access point where it just beams Wi-Fi, and we'll see what kind of speeds we get there. So I finished setting this up in AP mode now, and you'll see a video on the channel for a how-to on how to set this up in access point mode. The second half of the video is going to be me running a couple quick tests on sort of how that performs in access point mode, and then I'll just give you sort of my thoughts and reviews about the product after we're done with the tests. As you can see here on the screen, I've got this pulled up. Let me throw the start bar up here so you can see it. I renamed it Chromecast AP, and if you watched the access point video, that's what I named this. I decided to try to use this as an access point for a while and hook all my Chromecasts in the house to it. Anyway, we're set up to Chromecast AP5, so that's the 5 gigahertz band, and this is in AP mode, so that's Ethernet cable connected to the device, providing network connectivity, and then the device is just set up as an ad hoc AP, so it's just providing wireless network to the house. I don't have mine set up to act as a DHCP server. I have a separate DHCP server that does all the IPs for the house, so it's just literally providing wireless connectivity to the network, and that's it. So I'm just going to jump to speedtest.net just to keep everything sort of similar. All these ads. I'll probably block out some of these ads so you don't have to look at them. Sorry, Speedtest, but it's just how it goes. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and start the test and see how we do. I'm not terribly confident that these are going to be super fast, and part of the reason, of course, is because the device itself only has a 10100. The Ethernet port's only really capable of hitting 100 megabits per second, and that's complete throughput, so that's accounting for all network overhead, packet overhead, any sort of system overhead, etc. So the best you could expect is 100 megabits for this test, just so you kind of know. I think I saw it hit about 95 at one point. That was about as high as I ever saw it hit, and looks like we're gonna get about there again. That's about all you can expect from AP mode. Extender mode's actually faster, oddly enough. Anyway, that's the test in access point mode on the 5 gigahertz band, and I'll go ahead and switch to the 2.4, and the 2.4 should be slightly worse. So we'll just get this going. Oh man, Ookla, I know that you guys really need some money, but there's just so many advertisements everywhere on this thing. Let this do its thing. So yeah, here's our final test with a 2.4. Not too bad. Once again, this device is, I'd say that's about peak for the 2.4 gigahertz, and the download speed's a little bit slower, but I'm sure that that's probably a little bit of network busyness on my end. That being said, it's not too terrible. The device has pretty good signal. You can probably see here down sort of in the corner on my start bar. We have nearly full connectivity on the 2.4, which of course, if you're kind of aware of how 2.4 gigahertz works on Wi-Fi, it's gonna be better. 2.4 sort of has better range than 5 for the most part, but of course 5 gigahertz has a lot better throughput. With 5, we have about 3 bars. I noticed that a lot of the questions that I get about a lot of these wireless devices that I review are primarily geared around range. This one's currently between 20 and 30 feet away from me, sitting behind a dresser in my bedroom, and then that's through 2 drywall walls. So it's not too bad. As far as the 2.4, that's great. I could probably easily get signal outside, probably get signal in the living room, which is about 50 feet away. If I go out on the front porch, that's probably about 75. I can still see this network, although it's not that strong. And of course, you know, really the extender is not necessarily designed to get you a huge amount of range. It's just sort of designed to fill that gap. So, you know, you bring it to the edge of where you kind of still have Wi-Fi with your regular router, and then you jump it off of that. In AP mode, of course, you can just put it wherever you want. And, you know, the access is okay. It's not great, but if you look at these online, they're probably about 30 bucks right now. So that kind of gives you an idea about how much you're going to be spending. Overall, setting up the device, you can watch my other videos for that, and I'll have links to those at the end of this video. It's pretty good. The setup is really easy, especially if you do the firmware upgrade. Some of the older firmwares for this particular EX3700 device are pretty terrible, to be honest. A lot of terrible reviews about them on the internet for that reason. So I highly recommend taking the firmware update pretty much immediately. I got much better speed after that, and my specific device actually just kept dying on me. Prior to that, I was having a lot of problems with it even remembering my Wi-Fi network and even finding the Wi-Fi networks that I wanted. It was pretty bad. So honestly, for that, the entire device gets about 3 stars from me. That's a little bit harsh, and probably if I were to only take it at face value with the new firmware, we'd be talking 4 stars, 5 stars even. But honestly, with all the firmware, with all the hassle that you have to go through prior to updating the firmware, it's pretty bad. So just take the firmware update is really what I'm saying. And that's really about it. Not a whole lot else to talk about with it. If you have any questions about it, throw them in the comments. I love answering questions and helping out, so feel free to do that. Yeah, so stick around for more videos from me. But yeah, so if you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know in the comment section below. And subscribe for more videos. I think I pretty much don't have to tell you that if you're already on YouTube. But anyway, so thanks for watching, and have a good one.